All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm Mr. LeapFrog. Join me tonight, PhoenixGamer. How's it going, bro?
It's going well. How you doing today?
I'm chilling, man. Just got done cooking up some steak, and we're cooking up some more Overwatch for you tonight. Brazosport, they're on the loser side of the Odyssey Discord tournament, so they got their work cut out for them. Hopefully, they can bring it back here. Again, we were talking about it a little bit before the broadcast actually started. They're sitting 1-1. They lost last week to IDK, so they got their... They're looking for a W here and try to stay alive in the tournament tonight. They're going against, which team are they going against again?
Today they're actually going against a team called Respawn. Well, one sec here.
Respawn Raiders, right?
Yes, that is correct. Respawn Raiders. And they're actually the team run by the tournament organizer, Zoran.
All right. And look at that, Demon is legal. Okay.
Yes.
I was kind of curious about that because Demon, one of the newest characters added to the game, so I know a lot of people were highly anticipated for her release, and so far she's been kind of iffy for a lot of people. But so far, these teams have been feeling confident playing them in an actual tournament setting. You see Jaden getting the early advantage over to EC6, able to de-mech her for the time being, but you got to make sure you get that point control, make sure you start getting some early percentage.
You have to look out for those Wu Yang balls. Akara goes down to it, but BC is able to well, we'll just win this fight here. They've already managed to pop enemy Demon and be able to get that early pick off on the Pharah as well. I believe Gatsby switched over to Baptiste here after dying. BC getting the early point percentages here on this point, have control, but I'm kind of surprised to see two Demons straight off the rip here, especially with how, as you kind of hinted at, rough introduction to the game she had. Ailey goes down to support now for BC. Oh, there goes Jaden and Gato. They have to regroup.
I don't know if Akara was gonna be able to 1v5 this to be able to turn it around, but yeah, still a very dominant fight. One thing I will say about the Demon, I've been trying to play her for a little bit as well. She's very susceptible to just bullets in general. I mean, that's kind of like the go-to when you're trying to deal with a annoying tank. You just shoot him, and you know, Demon doesn't have the same amount of damage mitigation as her Diva counterpart, so you got to be really careful, play the natural cover, and just hope to God your supports can keep you alive just like that. But with one of your supports falling, that is going to be a quick little wraps on the fight here. They're going to wind up regrouping, and finally Respawn going to be able to take the lead in terms of percentage, unless Hikaru's got something to say about that.
Now that will be the advantage in favor now of Respawn. BC has shown they're not out of this fight here. That is going to be the ult coming out from Gato, going to use this to engage. Hikaru using the opportunity to apply pressure from behind. Unfortunately, dies to Ramiro. Here comes
nice. Beautiful ultimate from Jaden. My bad, Phoenix. I didn't mean to cut you off,
good. That was a huge ultimate. Forced them out of that Baptiste window, allowing BC to retake point. Here comes the Brig ult. That's a nasty combo there. The Brig ult with the Demon being able to just charge in. Sword and mace swinging.
Yeah, I mean, Demon's ultimate is so good, man. And honestly, unless you have a Kiriko that can cleanse that the ultimate, you pretty much have to either back out or you just wipe right away, because the damage mitigation or the damage discorded put onto you is even stronger than Zenyatta's discord. Does a 50% extra damage you receive. And you're about to see it live in action.
Ooh. Limit
breaks straight onto two of their characters. Immort goes out for their team, but I mean, the damage has already been done. They're going to wind up losing this point just about 75%, so not too shabby for Brazosport, but they're going to be looking for another fight win to be able to close out this first objective. Oh, look at that. And Ailey making the change over to the Ana. So I was curious about if we're going to try to out-heal him, and I think they were starting to recognize maybe the Gatsby Baptiste is definitely helping him out a ton. So now going for the Ana pick that gives you a little bit more sustain. Got to be real careful though, but they don't have a raw flanker, so maybe you just got to play a little bit more cautiously. They wound up losing Greninja very early on, and of course they're just going to capitalize and dive straight onto the Ana. Gato gets one for the road, but again, they're going to have to wipe and reset. And 80% and counting for Respawn. They're just one step closer to close out this first point. You can see the Freya swap over to Hikaru. Oh, and he catches Gatsby out of position. Just try to play aggressive, man.
That's gonna need the pick they need there. Here comes the Emery ult out from Greninja, singling out Ramiro, trying to focus down EC6. That's gonna be the point in favor of BC Gators here. They did have to pop, actually not even that many ults, all things considered. I think that was just Emery ult, and I believe Jaden popped his ult recently. On the side of Respawn, though, they popped Sojourn ult and they switched to Genji recently. Didn't they just switched, or they used Genji ult already?
Yeah, they just used the barrage, wasn't able to get anything going. They're gonna have to find somebody to contest the point. They get the cat to trigger the overtime, and now Greninja needs to be really careful. And Anti going on to the Demon, not gonna be able to get fallen just quite yet, but a Hikaru, of course, lining up the kill feed. Instant bola shot right onto the supports, and that's gonna be a wraps for the Respawn Raiders. They may get this ult off at the last moment, but it's not going to be enough to be able to turn that fight around. 99 to 100 on this first point. That's what I want to see.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a close one all around. Both teams have kind of had the feet and now can see that the other team's on a pretty equal footing as themselves, but also now Raiders have a bit of a, you know, but they've been offered the challenge of, oh, you almost won the point, but you lost it. So yeah, BC can keep this up. This will be interesting to see how this goes. This could go either way now from here on out.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth happening between the teams. There's a lot of swaps happening. I wonder if Narwilius is actually going to stick on the Genji, if he's going to try to make his way back out of the Pharah. I don't know if it's a good call, especially on this map in particular. Maybe the next we can get away with it, but there's so many open sight lines. It makes it very difficult to stay up in the sky. You know, as a Pharah player myself, I do know the struggles, especially when you're running, the opposing team is running the double hit scam. They're going to make the approach onto the objective here, going over to the well. Not a whole lot of characters that can go for the environmental kills beyond 8ly, maybe trying to kick you in the hole, but I think they're just going to try to duke it out just the old-fashioned way. Just try to find an old-fashioned brawl over on the right side. Typically fight on that left room, but again, they're willing to get a little bit closer with that brawl in general. You can see Jaden getting very low, but 8ly winds up getting a pick before the fight even actually really begins. They wind up losing the objective for the time being, but again, I think once they get that early pick off, it's going to be a quick little retreat and regroup for the Respawn Raiders.
Yeah, well, they do re-pick up the point after about 5%. They've already evened it out now, and now have control of point.
Okay, starting off the fight again, just Hikaru just lighting it up. And again, one of those characters, it's capable of pumping out so much damage, and you could already see he's already at 95% to the bola shot, so I don't think Respawn's going to be prepared for this one. I mean, maybe they can try to pop a Suzu off in time, but now that Suzu's gone, Hikaru ready to pull the trigger. I just know he's, yep, here he goes, right over the wall, straight onto the supports, and Wine's going to be missing, only hitting onto Jaden, but, onto Gatsby, but Jaden with the capitalization on the quick little ult from Demon to help close out that fight.
Yeah, Hikaru is always able to force the entire enemy team to push onto point directly into Jaden's ultimate here with the limit break, being able to get huge value from that.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you make this approach here? I mean, you got the damage capabilities with Gatsby and Romeo both playing very great supports when it comes to outputting a ton of damage, but I mean, they're still struggling, especially with that Zen Discord. You have to respect it. You can't just run right into it. You can see Gatsby and EC6 going also low, wind up getting demeched in the process, and all the while, both support ultimates still up and running and available whenever they want to use it. I mean, that was a big push for Respawn. They wanted to try to get that win with the Kitsune Rush, but unfortunately not going to find it.
Yeah, you hate, if you're watching Respawn, you hate to see that accident, having to use up that Kiriko ult there, not really able to make anything of it. BC's here sitting on 3, almost 4 ults. Well, and I mean, to be fair, very similar situation here from Respawn. Both teams kind of ult dumping out this point. Now we're at 90, pretty much 99% here. Dream goes down, to T-Bone goes down in exchange here. Here comes 8ly with the Transcendence, able to help secure the kill on EC6. Here's another ult, 2 more ults. Anything not been popped yet, and there's the Demon ult at the end, just to make sure everyone's dead.
Yeah, that is the Hikaru special right there. Whether he's playing the Tracer or he's playing the Freya, always evasive and elusive as a player in general. So frustrating to deal with, right? You see the Genji willing to try to pop a solo blade to try to take care of him, and he still winds up living. I mean, no transcendence. Yeah, but you don't have a Suzu that you have to worry about, so you're thinking in your head, this is go time. This is the one opportunity that I want to try to close out that round. Yeah, you
That
can see Jaden have a beautiful limit break.
that was a beautiful limit break there. Jaden with the play of the game. All round, great plays from both teams. As you feel, especially in that first round, Respawn was able to take a pretty decent lead there for quite a while. They showed that they are on equal footing with Brazosport. And now going forward onto map 2, we'll see how that will play out here now that, Respawn Raiders has been issued a challenge, and now they're on the back foot having to try to make up for lost ground with BC taking that first point.
Yeah, and now with I wasn't sure if there was any bans in that first map,
There
but
is
obviously I think
there is
yeah,
bans. We didn't go over it the first time. I know Hazard was banned, and I missed which other ones were banned there.
okay.
Um, so we'll see what bans go forward. I believe so. One advantage with this team being the team run by Zorn, I believe that BC has gotten the chance to watch the live stream for quite a few of the matches of this team playing, which should allow for a lot more targeted bans towards their main characters and their main cast. So it
Yeah,
looks
they get to study up on them a little bit and get some much needed research on your opponent. It definitely helps out when you have the footage you can kind of go over with your coach and your team in general and just say, okay, these are their comfort picks. This is where they really strive, and this is where they kind of fall short. Because again, both teams are on the loser side of the bracket, so unfortunately, one of these teams will be eliminated for this during this tournament. Again, with the first to three, not a whole lot of time to make adjustments. You gotta make sure you're coming in strong and try to maintain that lead. Maintain your composure as best as you can.
Yeah, it does look like it's gonna be okay. So it looks like we're gonna be on a hybrid map with a King's Row ban. So let me see if I can pull up the map pool for the options that they're gonna have here. So I'll leave them with 2 options remaining, which will be, if I can find it. Here we go. So for hybrid, they're gonna have Blizzard World and Neon Junction. So, and I
Hmm.
believe that will be Respawn Raiders' choice between the two, which one they want to have for this.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. You definitely want to get rid of the scrims row. That if you guys know, if you played any type of competitive Overwatch, you should know that Kings Row probably has the most amount of scrim hours and the most amount of experience played on that one. So you try to get rid of that first and foremost, so you don't allow your opponents to get comfortable on any type of map retaliation. So, Neon Junction being one of the newest additions to the game. I don't know if you want to count those reworked maps as like new additions, but in terms of raw, brand new maps as a whole, Neon Junction is one of the ones I think a lot of people were looking forward to. I love the map, me personally. Have you gotten to play it at all, Daniel?
Oh
Or
yeah,
Phoenix?
okay, no, all good. I actually really enjoy it. I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people on this team actually, Brazosport, do not enjoy that map. I personally enjoy it. I like the fact that the map feels a lot smaller. I don't have to walk 2 miles uphill both ways to get back to point. Um, Especially when I'm playing, Ana with my granny legs. It takes quite a while, and I don't really enjoy that much. So I do like this map for the size. The train's always funny whenever you get to see a kill. It does look like Raiders is banning Freya. I did not okay, Ramatra banned for BC. So Brazosport banning Ramatra, and Raiders are banning Freya, with Neon Junction being the map. Yeah, maybe you mentioned, yeah, Neon Junction being the map we're going to.
Okay. So that makes sense. They watched Hikaru play just one quick little map, and they recognize, okay, Freya's not the character we want to deal with. This guy is no joke. And I don't blame him. It's honestly a toss up. Whatever character he's kind of feeling on the day, he's got a couple characters under his repertoire. Whether that's the any of the hit scan, we've seen him play Tracer, Sojourn, Cassidy at an extremely high level. So seeing them ban the Freya definitely got them shook that first map.
No, exactly. So that will be, but that does leave the Freya available for the rest of this game now. Ramattra ban, I kind of interested to see how that goes. I know Ramattra can be pretty strong on Neon Junction, and I don't believe we see Delta Jaden playing Ramattra all too often. I know he enjoys leaning a lot more to the higher mobility characters, such as Monkey or now apparently Demon. So it looks...
Yeah, definitely could. I want to say with the addition of Demon, it's weird to think about, right? I mean, we've seen Demon in the hands of a couple different players and a couple throughout all the levels, and it fits that weird like middle ground of like you think of mobility in terms of just horizontal playing field, but when it comes to the verticality, she kind of struggles a little bit.
Yeah, exactly, and honestly, I do like it. Like that way. So she does, I think, has a very nice place, especially after the buffs she's been receiving lately. I think she's in a very nice position overall. She has that higher mobility than Reinhardt and that more, almost in a sense, independence that Reinhardt almost lacks. Reinhardt gets a huge amount of value with his shield from his teammates and with his ultimate from his teammates being able to take advantage of it, whereas Demon, yeah, supports her team, but also has a lot more personal aggression, personal value in a sense in her kit all around.
Yeah, you see that a lot from characters like the Hazard and the Winston, where like you can kind of isolate a target not as easily as some of the other dive tanks, but is one of those things that you can kind of jump in, get your damage, get your licks in, and then kind of jump out safely without fear of getting demeched or getting obliterated. Luckily, Demon does have that accessibility of like a second chance at life, similar to Diva, where she gets demeched. You can go on the floor, try to get your ult charge as quickly as possible, and get back into the fight. But seriously, I'm excited for what the future holds and what the unique combos we can get with her. Because again, she's brand new. I mean, she's barely a week old in terms of release. And we are still kind of getting the foundation with how you want to build team comps around her.
Oh, exactly. So I think she's still kind of up in the air where she'll end up landing eventually. I do think she falls far more into that brawl category. I don't think she's a dive tank. I'll be honest with you. Her mobility is good, but her mobility is not good enough for a dive. Mainly just, as you mentioned, the lack of vertical movement being her main struggle, which a lot of dive tanks kind of focus on. I think it'll be fun, especially I'm really excited, especially once the last two heroes come out, which I believe should both be supports coming out next. And those two will be very interesting how they end up comboing with Demon and the rest of the team. So the map is on its way here. We are seeing Hikaru starting off with the Widowmaker, trying to get that early cheesy pick. But EC6 able to get the kill off on Greninja right off the bat. Kind of putting a stunt to BC's push. Having to play a little more carefully here. Trying to wait it out till they can get that Genji back. Hikaru getting low, Aitley getting low. I'm trying to be a little careful. We are seeing Jaden already pushed up to the statue, taking the left side. Aitley does go down. They try to wall off Jaden. He's able to get out by the skin of his teeth here. Had to be very careful going forward here. EC6 is playing very well so far. Really, really good on the Sigma. BC's gonna have to watch out for that. It might be their ban on this next map potentially.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it's just a composition difference. I think, yeah, I was gonna say I think Jaden makes the change. We're just kind of missing a bit on in terms of the damage. When you're gonna go for the Genji Widowmaker, you're sacrificing a lot of that damage in exchange for the pick potential. So now that we see Jaden onto the Zarya, just got to find a way to get that charge, and now EC6 may not have as fun of a time trying to sit there and survive. You can see Greninja is constantly pestering him with these shurikens, getting a ton of players really low. And, you know, shout outs to Romeo. He saw the value that 8ly was getting last game onto the Widowmaker, or onto the Zenyatta, and made that change over himself. And they've been doing pretty well for the time being.
Oh, exactly. BC was able to kill the Sojourn, but unfortunately lost more people in the process. Kind of going to be regrouping again here. They are getting close to ults. So here comes Gato's ult with the solo beam. Gonna be getting this May most likely again. Mighty Low, see if they can secure that kill. Gato almost dies to Graviton Flux. Jaden goes down to Romeo. Dream goes down to Gatsby, or Greninja goes down to Gatsby. Kind of regroup again here, unfortunately. One ult out from Raiders with, I believe it's just one ult out from BC as well.
Yeah, honestly, it was like a 1-for-1 trade at that point. So I mean, we still have a long way to go. I mean, we only have a minute left of this time bank for attack for Brazos, and they need to find a way to get in, because I mean, they can't just raw Genji Blade here, because they have to worry about the Transcendence. So not going to be enough unless 8ly can hit this crazy anti to kind of shut them down. But you see them kind of struggling to get past this choke, and with not a whole lot of damage, is not going to be able to get anything done. Still willing to commit to the Nano Blade. Damage not going to be supplemental, because you have to worry about the Transcendence, and winds up overstaying his welcome. Falls in the process. Overclock from Narwelius, trying to shut down their push. They do take care of EC6, and everybody just hiding for their life, just trying to survive for the time being. Gatsby getting onto the kill feed as well, and now it's just T-Bone. Just 1v2 trying to close it out, and he doesn't wind up taking care of that full charge. I didn't even realize Gatsby was still up and kicking, but that will be very short-lived. 8ly winds up falling, but it looks like they are going to be able to cap that point with just 30 seconds to spare, unless they're going to look for a recontest.
I think they will, especially at this point, having that little block there, the little wall at the back of point where you can easily hide at, makes it really easy to recontest this point here. There is we still have Akaru's ult on the Sojourn to use during this fight. Here Kira goes off on the flank.
Oh no!
Gatsby's
a little overzealous.
Yeah, Gatsby able to shut that down here. We are seeing Delta Jaden still in the middle. Gets his ult. See if he can get a big fat grab here. And be careful with it. There it goes. It's big.
Oh, it's everybody, but he's not going to live. Not going to be enough damage. Gato wants him getting a pick for the road, but that is going to do it for the Brazosport's attack attempt. And that's where one of the things, I mean, just stayed on their comp just maybe a hair too long. I mean, not baiting out any crucial ultimates was their undoing, because Respawn just excellent positioning, just not overstaying their welcome. When they started to get a little pressure, they started to regroup, heed their, back to their heels a little bit, and was able to recontest at the perfect time, 77%. So it is still winnable for the Brazosports team, but they're going to have to play essentially perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And so this first point is one I've seen quite a few comp matches I've had where this first point gets held. Like, we'll have a struggle on attack, and then we'll be able to full hold on defense. It could just be one of those days, one of those matches where both teams are just on point with their defense and you're struggling on their offense here. We are seeing Jaden kind of mirroring what EC6 did last map, going the Sigma on defense here. Hikaru going the Cassidy, Greninja sticking on his Genji, with 8ly and Gato going a Ana Mizuki.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that we didn't see a dedicated flanker come up from Brazosport, because I feel like that could have really opened up the game plan a little bit. I mean, you saw Hikaru try to go for a hero play with the overclock off to the backline. I mean, not a bad call, but I just feel like if we do that consistently throughout the map, could have had a lot easier time opening him up in terms of just like spreading out that damage, giving Jaden an opportunity to get some more Zarya charge, whether that's like the Reaper or Xion. I was thinking Xion would have been a perfect character for this map, but not going to see it for the time being. We are going to see it from the Respawn Raiders, but again, they only need 77%, basically 2.5 ticks, and this second map will be theirs.
BC's already kind of been forced out of this first little choke point here. Able to get the kill on the EC6. That's a huge pick in favor of BC. Now it's the chance to push back in, retake this forward ground here, force them back into spawn, and kind of reestablish where they want to draw these battle lines for this next fight.
Yeah, you already called it, Phoenix. I mean, it's like one of those things. You just full held me, but I could fuller hold you. There's definitely a world and a universe where you can just stop him with no ticks altogether. But Jaden getting super low and getting antied. No cleanse in sight, but he's still actually going to get a pick despite him falling also low. EC6 trying to capitalize, trying to walk forward. They do lose Hikari in the process, but EC6 falls. So now it's another fight win for Brazosport, despite getting that first loss. And he got very hectic there towards the end. That anti came out perfectly from Romeo, but I mean, again, Jaden just playing around his supports effectively. No Suzu in sight, no Suzu needed.
No, 11 is so far here. And Jaden's keep getting pressured by EC6, but able to stay alive here. And that's kind of what counts in this fight. Just sticking alive, keeping that pressure, keeping that focus forward.
Dude, that reflect was sick.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I geeked out for a second. I'm a Genji main. I see that, and I started going crazy.
EC6
like Hikaru.
dies again. That's going to be Hikaru getting the kill. This time forcing them back once more. Reestablish first point, down to 2 minutes on the clock now.
Yeah, and this is that same point where you know a couple changes came out from the Brazosport team, but I mean the percentage of ults that you know Revengeance or Respawn are sitting at right now, they do not want to make that change, especially with you know almost 5 ultimates locked and loaded. They don't want to try to reset that, so they're gonna just kind of stick it out for the time being. They've got access to Nano, they've got the Orbital Ray, and with the assistance of the Domino ult, may be tough to deal with. But I mean, again, we still got the Kakashi Sanctuary from Gato.
Exactly, and the Nano as well as the Graviton Flux, all which could be huge. That's a huge anti. Huge anti gets him low. Here comes the Dragon ult out. Here comes, what else is that? A lot, just a lot.
Yeah, you gotta just commit to the ults.
It's everything.
Oh, everybody getting so low on the back line. Yeah, all the while T-Bone winds up falling as well to Hikaru. Romeo gets a little pick for the road just to say, hey, I'm not as squishy as you may have thought, but still a fight lost for them. And look what they committed, Phoenix. I mean, they committed everything. They committed their Nano. They committed the Orbital Ray, the Domino. Absolutely nothing for it.
Back. They do have Shion. They just switched Shion, I believe. Oh, no, who were they before Shion?
I think they've been running the entire time, gang. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll be honest. Yeah, you might be right. Because they are coming on the Shion ult, but BCG still have both DPS ults. We are seeing the switch over to Sigma here, trying to do the Sigma mirror.
Blade comes out. Oh, but perfectly placed immortality field, but it's not gonna last long enough. Still, Greninja slices his way through. And he wants to revenge on Romeo, but he recognizes, okay, now this is definitely not a winnable matchup for a Genji. You see the Moira, you have to back up, but it doesn't matter. The damage has already been done. Only 15 seconds left. And yet T-Bone not getting the flank presence that we were hoping for, trying to go for a flanker. And now with the final 10 seconds, this is a do or die situation for the map. EC6 just trying to fight his way onto the point. Not going to get rocked. Dodges in the meantime. Hikaru gets a huge high noon. Gets rid of T-Bone. So now no more Satsuriki either. And EC6 falling also low. Nano comes out the tail end. And that's going to do it. A fuller hold from Brazosport to take map number 2.
That will now be 2-0 in favor of BC Gators. So that was, as you point out, they struggled on attack there. Still managed to win that one fight is all that mattered. And then they had a much fuller hold. I don't think they got any percentage on the point here at all.
Yeah, 0%. And you know, maybe that's just me thinking incorrectly, but I already talked about, I was like, oh, I think we should run Shion here, and I think we need a flanker. And, you know, Respawn just unfortunately not able to get any type of space. I mean, they were stuck at choke for 90% of that game. And then the 10% that they did get through, they wound up losing 2 or 3 people on the approach. So at that point, when you're trying to get onto the payload, and you're trying or to the objective itself to get to make it turn into a payload, you got to find a way to keep your team alive. And with, you know, shout outs to EC6 and Jaden. They were trying their hardest, but man, their team was just crumbling behind them thanks to the DPS line on both sides of the coin.
Oh, yeah, no, that was incredible play. But both teams, like, as much as BC Gators won this fight, it was once again a very close one. Like, BC was not even able to cap point on attack. They had attack first, and that's always a rough one whenever you attack first and then not able to cap point. All the pressure's on you. All the stress is on your shoulders. Didn't stop BC though, and they managed to do an incredible hold right back at them. So both teams, a lot of great plays. You definitely see the tanks coming really through on these matches. EC6 getting all those early picks on defense, and then Delta Jaden surviving, in my opinion, many times I thought he was dead.
Oh yeah, I mean I couldn't tell you literally saw that one fight where he got antied and he went down to, I mean, almost double digit HP and was just so close to being eliminated. And that's where I was talking about. I think the addition of a flanker on either team, like a true traditional flanker with us, the Tracer or a Sombra, just something to get in the back line so you can kind of disrupt that flow. If you leave an Ana or a Zenyatta to their, to let them do however they want to position, they're going to get a lot of value. So you got to find a way to kind of disrupt that stuff. And, Aitley, shout out to Aitley, was able to position, effectively to get as much value as he could. The Nanos definitely came in clutch throughout many of those fights. And you saw that play of the game from Hikaru was, I don't want to say all Aitley, but I mean, it definitely helped out a little bit.
No, exactly. So it looks like we will be going to push next, which is going to be BC Gators ban New Queen Street. They don't want to go to Canada. A little too cold, understandable. And it looks like Respawn Raiders have picked Colosseo for this map. So this is the match point for BC Gators. If they can win this one, they win the match today.
Yeah, and they wind up eliminating Respawn Raiders as well from the tournament. So a lot riding on the line for these players. And you got to talk about the mental headspace going into this. They've got to be kicking themselves because, I mean, you think about that, that's got to deflate your balloon severely. You've stopped them at 77%. You guys are hyping each other up. You're like, yeah, we got this. This map is definitely ours. And then you just run into the freight train that was the Brazosport's defense and don't even get a single tick. I mean, how do you try to rally your troops back into this next map? Like, what would you do in this instance, Phoenix?
Ooh, I'll turn my Spotify up a lot. Try to lock in a little bit more. With how close these two matches are getting, it's almost one of the most frustrating. Oh, an honor ban out from Respawn Raiders. So it's almost like it's the kind of match which are so close. You look back and go, if only I had played 1% better. If only I had taken 2 steps to the left in outside, away from that doorway. If only I had, hit that one more shot on that person, it would have been a win for me, for my team. So, although they are, it is 2-0, it is realistically a very close game going forward. And I believe that, as you mentioned, that their spirits might be struggling a little bit, but I don't think they're too bad yet because it's not like they're being rolled. They are putting up a fight and they're almost winning time and time again, but just missing it by a hair. And I think if nothing else, that's just frustrating. If nothing else.
Yeah, that's unfortunately those are the ones that hurt the worst. Is like when you're that close, where you feel like you could have made one quick little adjustment, and it could have made a big difference. I mean, I bet you if you go ask Jaden afterwards too, he's probably gonna say the same thing. And he's like, man, I wish I swapped to Zarya a little bit sooner. Could have actually seen a little bit more of the map. But in all honesty, you got to make sure you keep your team motivated. Whether you're down 0-2. Or you're up 2-0, you got to make sure everybody's locked in because I mean it can always flip on the head of a coin anytime during this series. It's never over till it's over. I can't tell you how many reverse sweeps I've casted, Phoenix. I've been doing this a long time, and it's always the ones that people don't expect that just happens.
Oh yeah. And so it looks like BC is going to ban Mauga. So it's going to be the Ana and the Mauga bans going into this map 3 here. 2-0 in favor of Brazosport College. Can they get a clean 3-0? In theory, this map could be a quick one. This is push.
Let's find out.
So push, in my experience, either agonizingly long or soul-crushingly short.
Yeah, there's no in between when it comes to push. I've seen countless push maps. They kind of stop at first checkpoint. They can just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then there's other ones where one team gets like 120 meter lead to 0. So
Yeah.
it really just depends on who gets started first and who gets that quick little momentum. And then it kind of snowballs out of control. So hopefully we can see Brazosport get that quick 3-0. Or is Respawn Raiders going to rally back and start their journey to a reverse sweep? We're about to find out right now. And again, a third tank ban from Brazosport. They just don't want to see any particular tank during the series. We just keep banning a different tank every single map.
We are seeing the Xion, potentially, let's see if he sticks it, Alpha Makaru here. I know you mentioned you wanted to see the Xion on the last map. I think he might have heard you, and now he's switching over Xion for this map.
All right.
Delta Jaden back onto the Demon again. I think he's been loving her kit and play style. Into EC6's Junker Queen. Should be an interesting matchup there between those two tanks. Greninja still on the Genji, Aitley and Gata running the Brigitte and Juno here now.
Wow. Yeah, I think this is a term like I want to try to play a tank that I can try to survive the most with. So EC6 going for the JQ historically has had a lot of survivability, and you can see Romeo going over to the Moira as well. I mean, not even acknowledging his team. I mean, Jaden just got a 4K right now, and Romeo is off in the middle of no man's land. I mean, just you're trying to deal with a Genji. This ain't the way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of stuck there. He had Hikaru on his Xion right in your face from the get-go. You're just stuck in your little fight for your life, and your entire team is down your healer. And as much as Gatsby's trying his best, there's only so much Juno can heal. Here comes the Ramatra out from EC6 here. Almost immediately goes into form. BC trying to push in, holding that up on that staircase there. Pushing the payload. Tops off payload for a bit here to make sure to win this fight.
Yeah, and I think I was going to say they're going to have to drop down and contest at some point in time. But I mean, while they do that, Jaden, it's a trigger, a go time for it. Big ultimate straight onto 2 or 3 of them. I mean, getting a lot of them low, but all the meanwhile, T-Bone and Romeo are getting some picks in the back line, so they're going to have to try to reset, and they wind up taking the bot away for the time being. But I already talked about it, that 100 to like 0 meter lead may be inevitable for Brazosport unless Respawn, they do find a way to kind of wipe their team and kind of get them to, slow down a little bit, give them some traction to dig their heels in the sand.
Exactly, and there will be a bit of a rough stagger with the mech death of Delta Jaden here, having to try to play as a squishy now for a bit, having no tank presence for this next fight. We do have ult though. Hikaru has an ult. This could be incredibly good.
Honestly, I would think we'd go for a Satsuriki spree kind of early on here, but no, it's actually going to be Romeo playing the mock DPS of the Moira and wind up just going straight for the DPS line of Brazosport and Narwilius as well, getting a couple railgun shots for the road. And now look at the ult economy for the side of Respawn. They've got a ton of ultimates going into this next fight.
BC Gate is coming to this next fight with about 3 and then 2 half ults, with, as you mentioned, Respawn coming to the 4 full ults, and then already working to go to that Moira. That's going to be forward spawn in favor of Respawn here going so far.
Wow, and Hikaru doesn't even opt to go for the Satsuriki spree, instead just swapping over to the Cassidy right away. And then matching orbital rays, but all the while overclock is going to be coming out from Narwilius. EC6 did think he was going to try to survive in that instance, didn't pop Annihilation, so maybe they have an opportunity to shut down this push, and they are going to be able to stop it for the time being. I mean, 80 meters for Respawn, so that's not a bad push for them, and they're still actually getting a few more meters all the while they're trying to still get those last few stragglers, and T-Bone's still getting picks.
Yeah, wow. We are seeing both the DPS or BCKs die here. Looks like they're going to stop the push around 90 meters here, not wanting to get staggered here. Enjoy it. Oh, there goes down Gatsby. You're going to have to try to focus on Ramatra, who's ulting in your not able to get anyone here, luckily. Delta Jaden getting hard charge, dies to T-Bone's ultimate. T-Bone getting both Aitley and Delta Jaden here. BC back down again just to Greninja, having to try and survive.
Okay, yeah, and Jaden making the swap over to the Orisa, so not wanting to deal with this annoying Ramattra. I mean, nothing you could really do in that instance. You could hold up a shield, but guess what? Ramatra's still punching right through it. And Greninja gonna pop a blade straight to the back line, looking for the Moira. Not gonna be a tag team thanks to Hikaru with the high noon. And Narwelius, the next target of his blade, but still winds up falling. Again, Hikaru and Greninja have been totally in sync in terms of who they want to focus down. And that's what you need to do going forward. Because, I mean, now we have to work on a 120 to 50 meter deficit.
Exactly. BC able to get that bit of a stagger off on the Juno there. Unless, oh no, she was able to sync up with the Moira's respawn. It's not really much of a stagger. But Respawn does not have their supports for the next few seconds. BC able to kind of take a little advantage of it, being a little more aggressive, pushing the cart back up to the middle there.
Yeah, they still have forward spawn throughout all this. They still have not surrendered that forward spawn in a quick window from Gato. Man, dude, Gato made that change over to Baptiste and got window so fast I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I feel like Baptiste, his ultimate feels more like a cooldown than an ultimate. With how often it gets charged. Here comes the Kitsky's Sanctuary as well as the Overclock. Unfortunately, both DPS go down on BC's side, and there goes Aitley and Jaden. That'll be the fight in favor of Respawn again. Yeah, me pushing this up.
Yeah, that Kakai from Aitley just came out just a hair too late. They wound up losing Gato in the process, and then you know, Hikaru got kind of low too, and that's the benefit of running the Shion. You can just toss that motorcycle right into the Kakai Sanctuary and he goes right through it and it just blew him up. Does so much damage. So now Hikaru not going to go for the Tracer, instead just going to go for the Soldier, maybe something that can do consistent damage while still being elusive, maybe to quickly chase down the Romeo. I know Romeo's been a thorn in a couple of the DPS's sides. And look at that, another Coalescence. Just as I speak of the devil, he brings it back up and helping close out this fight again.
That'll be both support ults out from Respawn here.
Where did Romeo come from? Whoa. Foxy jump scare from out of nowhere. I thought, I definitely got juked too. Me and Hikaru had our next turn 180. Turned us into a couple of owls. But now, again, an annihilation from EC6. They want to close this out right here now. And unfortunately, that window cooldown not going to come quick enough. And a Satsuriki spree just for good measures. And a full cap from Respawn Raiders. What a response.
That puts this up to 2-1 now in BC's favor. So now we are seeing the Respawn Raiders bit of their comeback here. This match was a lot more dominant in their favor in many ways, kind of going throughout it. BC guys had a great start to the match, looked very strong at the get-go, but unfortunately once Raiders made the changes they made, there wasn't much that BC guys could really do to try to stop it from there on out.
Yeah, Juco, I'm asking the same thing. I was genuinely curious why we didn't see a single Kiriko swap at all throughout this entire series, because Kiriko wasn't banned. It was Ramatra and oh no, it wasn't Ramatra, it was Malga and Anna being banned in that last map. So kind of bizarre that we didn't see Kiriko, which is, I would say, a staple in all compositions. I mean, if you watch any level competitive Overwatch, you see a Kiriko in some degree. And I don't know if it's just an unwritten rule for this tournament, or these two teams in particular have come to an agreement and said, hey, you want to just pass on the Kiriko for now?
I think it's also just, I don't think either team necessarily plays Kiriko too much. Because I know Gato does to some degree. Aitley, I don't seem. What I'm surprised about is how little Brig we've seen out of Aitley. I know Aitley has been loving the Brig, helped him climb up to high GM edge of champion with that Brigitte. So I'm suspecting we might see the Brig Mizuki come out here pretty soon. I know they both him and Gato have been loving that combination, been rolling quite a few teams with it. So
okay. And we're going to go to a Flashpoint map next. And I don't think there's a, I don't think there's too many Flashpoint maps. I think they actually just get a raw choice of it. And they are going to opt for the Atlas pick. So definitely one of those maps I think is another one similar to Neon Junction, where one of the newer additions, not a whole lot of scrim time. I think for a lot of Flashpoint, almost everybody and their mother goes for Saravasa. That's also like the next scrims row. Uh,
Hmm.
it's and same thing. Like not a lot of people go for New Junk City, but I feel like we've seen a lot more gameplay and we've had a lot more footage of those two Flashpoint maps in particular.
No, exactly. And we are seeing the bans as well come out. It's going to be a Soj and a Demon ban.
Mm. Interesting. And I'm wondering if they're gonna start respecting the Romeo like flex support at all. Cause I mean I know he was kind of messing around going DPS mode with the Moira, but it was actually really effective. I think it definitely helped out a ton with it shut down a lot of the flankers. You saw Hikaru couldn't even use his Satsuriki spree on Shion. He had to just make the raw swap over to the Cassidy. Greninja wasn't able to get a whole lot of value on the blades either. So maybe we start seeing a lot more hit scan focus for both of the players because again, Hikaru has access to his tried and true. He's got Tracer again. He's got the Freya if he really needs to. And
Hmm.
Greninja, yeah, I think he was doing really well in the Emery on that first map as well.
Especially the Soj ban here. I think Freya might be a solid pick coming out of Hikaru going into this next match. Delta Jaden going at this once again Flashpoint here, not gonna be able to have that Demon to pick. Might be seeing more of the Ramacha, the Orisa. I don't think I've seen play too much Ramacha actually, so potentially more of the Orisa. Potentially the BC might go almost entirely dive into this. Go more of the Winston or the Diva. But I
Yeah.
think we should be seen going in here pretty soon. I don't know. All the map the bans are out. Just waiting on the map to start.
Yeah, I mean, now that we've got the bans in place, no more Demon. So Jaden definitely shed a tear for that one. I think that's an F in the chat for us because I think we love to see the Demon. Again, I didn't think we'd see a Demon ban because in my personal opinion, I don't think she's like that crazy. I think she's very controllable, especially if you have a lot of heavy damage dealers. But I guess it's one of those things Respawn don't want to just deal with it entirely. And also, it's their turn to ban a tank because we've had a tank ban every single map so far. So at that point, we got to keep that train going.
Exactly. I mean, we can't let our tank players have fun. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, you gotta make them suffer. Yeah, I mean, it's why you let them solo tank. You gotta let them stew, let them suffer a little bit, and then they can bring out that angst in their gameplay.
Course, put him in the tank jail, and that's what you got to do
Exactly.
for a lot of our tank players, especially the good ones too. And I know Jaden's definitely had the experience for a while. I've seen countless gameplay hours of him, and he's done nothing short of impress me. So hopefully, we'll keep him on the tank jail as long as possible. But yeah, I digress. It's like I said, I've tried Demon a little bit. It's hard, man. I couldn't really stick with it. I'm a hazard player myself, so I prefer to stick with
Mm.
my big spiky yelling man going woof woof.
That is fair. Hazard is annoying. I'll be honest. There was a solid time when I would happily ban Hazard in every one of my matches because I felt like every other match I had was a Hazard ban on the enemy team, and I couldn't do anything because he was always behind me, jumping and killing me.
Yeah,
It was painful.
that's how I feel with Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball has been a terror in my rank games. I'm like currently hard stuck Emerald, so I'm trying my hardest to get out of that bad boy. But when I'm running into a Doomfist or a Wrecking Ball one trick, it's just instant GG's. We go next.
Yeah, there's a lot of Doomfist one tricks as I've learned. It's kind of funny because how weak he was for the longest time. It's a similar kind of thing to a lot of the Genji one tricks of the character was so incredibly weak. And I know I've talked to one of my friends who's a Doomfist one trick, and that's actually the reason why he one tricked the characters because how weak they were, and he wanted to try to challenge himself to get good at a character that technically kind of sucked. But now with him being in a pretty decent place, a lot of them are coming through. A lot of them are showing up in the comp matches and performing pretty well all around. So
Yeah,
here we are.
I think we're in a golden era of Overwatch right now because we're seeing a lot of varieties. My bad, Phoenix.
Oh no, of course, I fully agree with you. Actually, not only does it feel that way? The numbers fully back up that opinion. Overwatch, I believe, was one of the top, or Blizzard is one of the top earners. This is like one of their best earning years since Overwatch released. And they'll be able to keep it going now. This has been great to see how Blizzard's breathe vitalization into the game, especially the esports scene and the competitive scene, and where they'll go from here on out, especially with reworking or adding more to the Overwatch comp system, reworking the rank distribution, adding new ranks, the constant focus on new characters and changing up the metas, giving people more different ways to play the game and more strategies to go with.
And the new skins, man. Have you seen that Fleece and Fangs bundle, man? I'm not gonna lie, I definitely pulled my wallet out immediately when I saw that. I didn't think anything was gonna top my Cupid Hanzo, but I found a new one now. So we are so back. Here we go. And again, reverse sweep potential for Respawn. They gotta lock it down still. They gotta close out another map, and this one's gonna be a little bit tougher. Very similar to that control map they had in first runabout, but this time they're gonna have access to the Ramatra.
Yeah, we are seeing that. Ooh, early pick off by Delta Jaden getting Norwelius. So we are seeing that Kiriko now come out from 8ly. So that kind of the mutual agreement of no Kiriko is kind of ended now. And here comes the Kiriko. Romeo goes down to Karu with the headshot. Greninja harassing this poor T-Bone, chase them directly into Karu's sights. That's going to be the point in favor of BC. Getting the early percentage now, 25% on point. As Respawn have to regroup.
Yeah, that's why you got to wear your helmet, everybody, because you walk headfirst into a quick little Cassidy headshot, shuts it right down. EC6 actually falling super low, and you see what I was talking about, the mutually assured destruction. We said no Kiriko. Now that you've broken that rule, now Romeo making the change over to the Kiriko. So they have options and opportunities to match the Kitsunes. You got to be really cautious of when you try to actually use those, because everybody gets so low. It's going to be the quick little burst damage to keep your team alive. Jaden, a lot of damage, but no more bubbles now. EC6 is trying to jump on him, but all the while his entire team is starting to crumble around him. I mean, piece by piece, brick by brick, they will fall. And now it's just a single Cassidy all alone to contest this point. And as we approach that 90% mark, that is going to do it for this point first objective.
Well, it's kind of rough for Respawn there with that fight. They lost both the supports almost early on. The first losses in that were actually supports on both teams. We lost Gato at the same time as losing Romeo, and then Gatsby died shortly afterwards, leaving Respawn with no supports anymore. And BC there with the Kiriko still.
Oh my gosh, look at everybody so low. Greninja, he wants that dash reset, but he needs to find a pick. Hikaru gets the first one. The domino starts to fall now as the rest of them start to crumble along with them. And that's going to be a quick little team kill in favor of the Brazosport team. I mean, that was such a fast wipe. I mean, the little stagger just to kind of, that actually helped out a little bit because it makes that wave respawn just take a little bit longer. But I mean, look at the ult economy for both of the teams. I'm getting a strong feeling we're going to see a lot of Q being pressed.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, especially with how on the back foot. There's the first Q. There's the first Q. So maybe we can give it a count. Yes, here comes the second one.
Okay, yeah, he wants.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we were going to see a lot more, so that's definitely a lot less than what I anticipated. But I'm glad they have the trigger discipline there, because I mean, at that point you don't want to pop the Kakai Sanctuary. The healing output's not enough to save you from the annihilation. He's just gonna walk in it anyways. So good on them for holding it back for just the time being. But now they have to walk into a Kitsune rush. So this is gonna be one of those difficult ones. I don't know how they try to, circumvent this. Oh shoot! Grab just wind up catching the shield, but it looks like they're gonna commit to the fight anyways. Greninja popping a blade straight to the backline. Hikaru with the assist. Damage is actually still being done. T-Bone falling dangerously low. But with Greninja falling and Hikaru kind of caught in between the rock and the hard place again, just has to wait for his team to regroup. Unfortunate for that grab, because that could have been the W for sure.
That even though they lost that fight on the side of the ult count, they won. They now have 2 ults with no responses. from Respawn here, and they kind of use these two ults freely. One of them being Hakaru's Deadeye going forward here. Here comes the Kid K Sanctuary. Here comes the Deadeye getting really low. Romeo goes down. Hakaru goes down. That's fine. Gatsby and EC6 die. Greninja chasing away that poor, the poor T-Bone once again. It might be getting nightmares of a Genji in their sleep going forward for the next week.
Yeah, forced to regroup once again. Immortality Field is utilized from Gatsby kind of early on in this fight, so they can't play too aggressive. Especially now that 8lee's got access to the Kitsune Rush, and they're actually going to fight into that. Motorcycle does connect onto him. 95% for Brazosport. Do they have anybody to contest? They do trigger overtime, but Hikaru's already gotten the picks, and with Narwelius not having access to the your fade, that's going to do it for this point. 2-0 lead already for Brazosport. Despite how close these points have been going, you're now staring down the barrel of elimination if you're Respawn.
Yeah, and top of that, ult-wise, both teams are pretty evenly matched now. Ults, maybe a little bit the advantage towards Respawn here. Got the Ramatra ult, getting pretty close to the Reaper ult here. And then on its way with the Shion ult. BC Gators having Hakaru's ult, Greninja's ult, and getting close on Delta Jaden's ult here, as well as Gato's ult. Here comes EC6, and he goes down. Gato saying nah to that. Hikaru getting Romeo. Oh,
that's tough, man. I mean, where's Juliet at this point? I mean, everybody's falling down piece by piece. I mean, EC6 now making the change over to the Winston. And that really, honestly, as soon as he lost that Annihilation, that was like the key moment where he's just like, yeah, I can't do it anymore. There's so much damage being pumped into me. I have to just block the entire time. And that's not what you're trying to do. So you try to go for something with a little bit more damage mitigation with the bubble. Maybe try to get rid of Greninja. And finally, the grab connects. Not going to be blocked up by a shield. An instant, quick little 5K from Jaden, thanks to the assist of the Blade. And that's going to take us to the 70% mark. And now we're coming down to a final fight territory, I think.
That's
Look
the
at the
last
again that we have, dude.
Yes, the Reaper ult they're gonna look out for, but they do still have the Cass ult and the Mizuki ult. Here comes the Mizuki ult. Reaper looking to try to get his ult off, had to retreat, wasn't able to commit to it. Reaper looks like he's flanking a little bit. Monkey on point. Here comes the Shion ult. 8lee goes down. Here comes the Hikaru's Deadeye. What a Suzu! Able to barely save them, but Romeo still dies. Hikaru Gato dies. It's just a 3v4 here going on. Everyone's getting low. It's just Jaden. That's gonna be a reset, but that was actually those ults out. So it is just one, getting close to 2 ults for Respawn here. BC Gators almost got the Kitsune Rush. A little bit on the disadvantage here going forward, but it's one fight territory.
Yeah, again, they just need to win the one fight, and the series will be theirs. Now, Aurelius been saving up this Death Blossom for this moment here. He needs to find value in this one. You saw the Satsuriki spree come out from T-Bone. It was huge. So if they can do that again on this next push, it might be enough to get them a point. A single objective is all they need. They're going to pop the Kitsune Rush on the objective. And there it is, Narwelius getting rid of 1 and essentially 2. Thanks to the assist from T-Bone. Hikaru's got to go crazy. Unfortunately, the craziness will end now. It's only pure madness. And by the skin of their teeth, Respawn able to keep their hopes alive and get a point on the board.
Yeah, that will be 2-1 now for this map, as well as the series in general. In favor of BC here, going in this once again, being match point. Still going forward here. See if BC can pull off this point. They just need to win this 1 point, and it's theirs. Monkey kind of forcing out the rampage out of EC6 here. 8lee, Hikaru both die. Hate to see it. Gonna get, I guess, Jaden and Greninja. Greninja goes down. Jaden's just trying to retreat at this point. Have to be careful. Try to get out alive, not to stagger. Gato too. Gato survives it, luckily.
And you know what? That the eluded 8lee Brig finally coming about. and Greninja actually willing to sacrifice his blade. He was at 90% to his blade, just going to give it up in favor of the Emre. I already talked about that earlier too. I thought this would be a great character for him, especially with the Winston just constantly peppering them with damage. They have to start respecting it. Now that he's got the major perk that gives you extra healing, they just buffed it. It's not going to be enough to keep you alive, but it's going to be enough to kind of deter any opponents from jumping into the bubble. Romeo playing really aggressive with this Coalescence. If he's not careful, he might get chained, but we do have access to the Kakai Sanctuary. Going to pop it down super early. Not going to get the chain connection, but with Hikaru going to pop ultimate high noon from the left side, forcing everybody just to hide for their life. They have to worry about the Graviton Surge as well, though. So Jaden locked and loaded, primed and ready to pull the trigger.
We see the monkey getting low here. There goes the Graviton Surge. Gets a lot of them. That, unfortunately,
wow.
too many of BC had died at the start of that fight to be able to fully take advantage of that Graviton Surge. That will be 60% now in favor of Respawn going into this next fight. This next fight being last fight territory for this point.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't just stay on the Genji. I know the Emre is looking good so far because of the amount of damage he's outputting, but I mean, you already had your blade. You could have just turned that into a quick little fight win. You saw the last time when they did the grab blade, instant fight win for them. And you can see EC6 just taking a really aggressive angle, not going to build up to his Primal Rage. Was at 93%, not going to be able to build it up in time, and that was a crucial mistake for Respawn because they were looking to close out that point and that objective, and now because of that overextension, they give a second chance for BC Gators on this objective.
Yeah, that little not being able to quite get that ult in time, I think might cost them this point potentially. Once again, now up to 60% BC Gators. It is going to be last fight for this point, regardless who wins here going forward here. 70% BC Gators. Here comes the the Moira ult getting one.
Yeah, he's hunting. He's just being aggressive with it. Wants to get the damage. We're still gonna pop pop a ton of ultimates here. Gato actually gets rid of one. Death Blossom only gonna take care of one, and Greninja gets three. No, just the two, but still the damage is already done. EC6 popping Primal Rage. 8ly had to pop the rally super early on that fight, and he takes care of the Winston with the regroup. The Respawn able to get them this point.
They
back
might
into
have
their
a
favor.
touch. It's gonna be close. I don't know if anyone can touch this. I don't think
95.
So.
Anybody left? Nobody can reach it in time. They get the trigger for overtime.
They do.
Barely
touch.
But Romeo.
Moira's on 1 HP. Moira goes down. Here comes the ball. Here comes the Ketkai Sanctuary. Here comes the Deadeye. BC Gators popping all the Q buttons. There goes the Reaper. There goes Gatsby. And there goes the map. That will be BC Gators going 3-1 against Respawn Raiders.
Unbelievable. The perseverance from this team is something you have to pay attention to. Even when they're knocked down, even when they only have 1 or 2 players left, they fight their hearts out. And that very late rally from 8ly was really a determining factor from this map. So I'm surprised we didn't see a whole lot of breaks sooner, Phoenix, because that was the determining factor. Those ultimates, they make or break the maps. I mean, you saw Romeo was able to get so much value from the Coalescence. And same thing with 8ly when he's popping those Kitsune rushes, or if he's going to pop Rally when he swapped over to the Brig, or Gato popping the Kakai Sanctuaries, those ultimates are like the ones that can turn or actually close out fights. So big ups to both of the team supports. I mean, Respawn Raiders fought their hearts out. They started to get some traction going, and maybe we're looking at a potential reverse sweep. But Brazosport's, narrowly closing out that map, and it all came down again to just the quick decision making from the teams.
Exactly, and once again, both teams performed very well in almost every map there. We love to see the no points captured at all on the Neon Junction. Love to see the 2-1 barely scratch out a win for BC Gators on that first point there on the first map. And then even on the push map where we saw Respawn Raiders kind of start to get their steam back, BC Gators were still able to push back and still able to make them fight for every inch they got. And on this last map, what a map to end it out on there. Going so close for both teams down to the fourth, I mean, it was the 4th point there before BC Gators were able to barely itch out that last point capture to win the map and today's series. So I
Yeah, I mean,
do.
honestly, there's nothing better, Phoenix. I'm telling you right now, that is peak Overwatch in its finest. You have to have that tenacity, that mindset to keep your team alive, keep your team going, no matter the cost. And again, able to keep it going for the time being. Again, this is a traditional double elimination bracket, so that was the loser side. So unfortunately, that will be the last we'll be seeing of Respawn Raiders. But Brazosport lives to play another day, another week, I should say. So with that being said, I think that's going to wrap it up for us here tonight.
Yeah, just want to quickly shout out, Mr. LeapFrog here. Thanks for coming in, casting with me. As always, we always love it when you're able to come and join us. And if people want to follow you or see what other kinds of other stuff you cast, where would they go to be able to find that?
Yeah, just jump on the Twitter, or the X as they like to call it now, is at the Mr. LeapFrog. I've been trying to get into streaming a little bit more with the Twitch, but we'll see how that goes once we get moved into this new house. But yeah, I'll be commentating a little bit of everything: Valorant, Rivals, Overwatch, Tekken, Street Fighter. I've been doing a lot more fighting games as per lately. I was just talking about in the chat going out to CEO in Florida, being able to commentate down there. So hopefully I'll see you guys again at another offline event pretty soon.
Oh yeah, well I know we've got Legends Fest, well, not soon, but coming up again next spring. Hopefully you'll be able to come down for that. I know we're BC, a lot of our teams are looking at more, starting to eye some of the larger events throughout the upcoming year as we continue to grow. And for that, if you're going to kind of see as BC itself kind of starts growing the esports program, feel free to follow us either here on the Twitch, or if you search up Brazosport Esports, one pretty much every social media out there, all the major ones. And then also, I know kind of just for today, with mindset for today's match, a huge shout out just to Zoran and the Odyssey tournament for hosting and running this tournament here over the summer, giving our players a place to compete and strive and sharpen themselves against other teams of similar skill and ability to themselves.
Yeah, of course, man. That's what I love about these events. I've been doing online events for as long as I can, as long as I've been online. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm glad to see the Brazosport team been trying it out.
Yeah, well, with that, I think that will be it for today, and we hope to see you guys again potentially next week for next week's match. If not, we'll see everyone later on as the fall semester continues and we start picking up more and more streams, more and more casts of different game titles as we compete in more and more tournaments. So have a good one all. Thanks again to Mr. LeapFrog for joining us today, and we'll see you all next time.